Hello? Are you there, chat? Come in. Over and out. Numero dos. Numero uno. What the fuck? None of it's working, chat. All right. Be good now. There we go. That was bad. Double. Double. Single. Dialogue speech only. Economy. It's making me run the economy version of the plugin. How dare it? Okay, here we go, folks. First juice for the day. Watch this slop.
I've dreamt of attacking Iran. He's the only president who would listen to me. Those are Netanyahu's words. I'm paraphrasing.
Years, Trump
Every president said no.
87, he would go and take over Carrick Island. He said that in 85. You make it seem like this guy's not an independent thinker.
Well, he's not an independent
Trump
thinker.
said that in 85.
Hold on. He also said, none of us knew they would hit the Strait of Hormuz. None of us knew they would hit the Gulf countries.
We had no idea.
Everyone knew
You
this.
can't give him credit that he said this 40 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how he got that one thing consistent.
Oh,
but
yeah,
what about the actual
I don't know
war?
how this one thing he did.
Okay,
I don't know how he.
on.
I don't know how he came back and
Patrick,
won
you keep asking me to
election
give him credit.
Yeah.
The Iran war, you praised him on day one of the Iran war. Would you accept today it's been
What
an
is
absolute
happening with the
disaster?
volume?
Donald Trump is not a war leader.
No,
he doesn't understand foreign policy. He doesn't understand.
Actually.
He just said this week,
Yeah.
I'm bored. You know what he
Maybe.
said this week? I'm bored of all this.
Mehdi.
Like a child.
I'm bored.
Right to jail, right away.
I have a
Mehdi.
local doctor. I want you to
Mehdi, I'm a numbers guy.
specializes in TDS.
Mehdi, I'm a numbers guy. Hey Vinny, can you grok it? Can you grok it, Vinny? I'm a numbers guy. Grok it.
And I think
Hey
he will
Vinny,
work very
can you
well.
grok it?
Over a 6-month period, he'll be able to get rid of your TDS.
I have a guy who's a psychologist.
You have
He deals
TDS.
with cult members.
Yep. He specializes in TDS. And I think you would work very well with him. Over a 6-month period, he'll be able to get rid of your TDS.
I have a guy who's a psychologist, and he deals with cult members.
Yep.
And I think he'd do well with you guys who can't get out of Trump cult.
See the
right?
difference?
I asked you,
The
I
difference-
gave you an opportunity in front of the audience to
difference
criticize Trump
between-
on Iran. You can't do it.
I will.
It's been a disaster.
Can I tell you?
Please.
The difference between
Please.
you and I is I will sit there and I'll give credit and I'll criticize.
I'll give him credit. What should I give him credit
I
for?
am more supportive of him than you are.
What should I give?
Give him more credit than you are. How dare you?
Wrong.
That's right. That's right, chat. I made it. Howdy. Interesting. Da 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 da. Thought I muted that.
From hostilities. Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. The House of Representatives has approved legislation seeking to end President Trump's war in Iran. On Wednesday, 4 Republican Congress members broke ranks and sided with Democrats in a 215 to 208 vote on the War Powers Resolution directing President Trump to remove U.S. armed forces from hostilities against Iran unless explicitly authorized by Congress. The vote had initially been set for 2 weeks ago, but was delayed after House Speaker Mike Johnson adjourned for an early May recess when it appeared the resolution had the votes to pass. It now heads to the Senate. If approved there, the resolution would require Trump's signature. Neither chamber of Congress appears to have enough votes to override a presidential veto. Meanwhile, Michigan Democratic Congressmember Rashida Tlaib is moving forward with a separate War Powers Resolution that would end U.S. military involvement in Israel's war on Lebanon. She spoke from the House floor Wednesday.
Organizations such as Human Rights Watch have documented Israel's illegal use of white phosphorus multiple times in Lebanon, which is a war crime. They launched it in residential neighborhoods, y'all, in Lebanese farmland. Is this what our country is supporting? We are supplying these horrific chemical bombs to the Israeli military, and our military is providing operational support as we speak for these scorched earth campaigns that is destroying the very conditions of life in Lebanon.
Lebanon's government's agreed to extend the U.S.-brokered ceasefire with Israel, even though the Israeli military has consistently violated it. The agreement reached Wednesday requires Hezbollah to cease fire on Israeli troops occupying southern Lebanon, ordering their withdrawal from territory north of the Litani River. Once again, Hezbollah was not a party to the talks, which were hosted by the State Department in Washington. Ahead of Wednesday's announcement, Hezbollah continued to attack Israeli forces occupying southern Lebanon and fired rockets toward northern Israel. Meanwhile, Israeli strikes across Lebanon killed at least 9 people Wednesday, including an attack on an ambulance that killed 2 paramedics. Several more people were wounded after the ceasefire extension was announced when an Israeli drone attacked a vehicle in southern Lebanon. On Capitol Hill, Secretary of State Marco Rubio testified to a House committee on Wednesday that military operations against Iran are over. Rubio later clarified his remark to state he meant only that Operation Epic Fury had ended.
It's a fact. We're no longer conducting sustained strikes inside of Iran to degrade their military because Epic Fury is over.
Even as Rubio spoke, President Trump appeared to contradict his testimony, telling reporters in the Oval Office the U.S. had attacked Iran as recently as Tuesday evening.
And we hit them pretty hard the night before and actually last night.
Trump claimed talks to end the U.S. war in Iran were going very well, actually, and could result in a breakthrough as soon as this weekend. He spoke just hours after Iran attacked diplomatic facilities in Kuwait, along with its international airport, killing 1 person and injuring over 60 others.
What was that?
Say in that part of the world, ceasefires when you're shooting in a more moderate manner.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Iran remains in communication with the Trump administration, but stressed there had been no tangible progress with U.S. negotiators. In Gaza, Israeli airstrikes overnight killed 9 Palestinians, including 4 children. On Wednesday, mourners gathered at Al-Aqsa Hospital to bid farewell to 2 Palestinian brothers, Sakar and Momen Khalil Abu Karim, who were killed in an Israeli airstrike at Maghazi refugee camp. This is one of their relatives.
There's no ceasefire or anything. The Israeli army is targeting civilians. He was a young man trying to make a living, just like me. I'm a tradesman, just trying to earn a living. We want to live. What shall we do? It's a wartime, and everything is shut down.
There is no ceasefire.
The British government has banned progressive political commentators Hassan Piker and Cenk Uygur from entering the UK. They were scheduled to speak at the South by Southwest London Festival and the Oxford Union Society. The UK's Home Office said it was cancelling their travel permits, quote, on the grounds that their presence in the UK may not be conducive to the public good, unquote. Both Piker and Uygur are outspoken in their criticism of Israel. Uygur posted on social media, quote, I've been banned for criticizing Israel. Are we free anymore? He asked. Piker also said, quote, the UK has revoked my visa as well, all at the behest of Israel, Piker said. President Trump said Wednesday night He'll nominate Todd Blanche as his next attorney general. Blanche has been serving as acting attorney general since Trump fired Pam Bondi in April. He was previously President Trump's personal lawyer. President Trump signed an executive order Wednesday making it easier to fire 8,000 of the highest-paid government workers. The order by the Office of Personnel Management strips a mostly senior group of workers of their civil service protections by classifying them as at-will employees who can be fired without a stated cause. Right. The White House previously indicated up to 50,000 positions could be reclassified and hasn't ruled out expanding its order. In Bolivia, rural communities demanding the resignation of President Rodrigo Paz have seized an oil field in the Santa Cruz region, shutting down production. What? Protesters closed the well valves and erected barriers to slow the advance of the police, with a local leader stating the takeover was nonviolent and decided collectively by indigenous community members. Police later moved in with riot gear, arresting 4 people. The oil field action is the latest escalation in a weeks-long general strike opposing Paz's sweeping neoliberal agenda. The unrest began in early May over fuel shortages, rising living costs, and austerity measures. Since then, it's left at least 5 people dead and caused billions of dollars in economic losses. President Paz is proposing a controversial state of exception bill to Bolivia's Congress to authorize the military to dismantle roadblocks as nationwide protests enter their 5th week. This is Bolivian President Paz.
All the efforts that our national police, our armed forces, and the government will make will be humanitarian actions aimed at changing this situation.
In Chile, thousands of students, teachers, and activists have taken to the streets of Santiago in a massive march against far-right President José Antonio Cast's education cuts and sweeping austerity measures. Since taking office in March, Cast has pledged to slash roughly $6 billion in public spending over 18 months, imposing a nearly 3% budget cut across all ministries. The Confederation of Students of Chile called on citizens to reject the austerity plan under the slogan, "Public education must be defended," warning free higher education is now under threat in Chile. These are some of the voices from the march.
We are returning once again to a savage dictatorship. The kids tried to march, and the police didn't let them. The teachers were gassed and beaten.
We are fighting to maintain rights, to protect them not only for us students, but also for the elderly and for all the people who need support and whom the state cannot leave alone.
Mexico City has been rocked by massive labor protests as the National Coordinating Committee of Education Workers is calling for dignified pensions, fair wages, and job security. The strike comes just days before Mexico is set to host the first match of the World Cup soccer tournament. On Monday, striking teachers marched on Zocalo Square, where they were met with tear gas from riot police as they broke through metal barricades. On Tuesday, they toppled giant mannequins of soccer stars advertising FIFA World Cup matches. According to the union, 5 protesters were injured in the clashes. This is Jose Montes de Oca, the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Mexican Electricians Union.
There is a lack of sensitivity on the part of the government to address and resolve the demands of the working class, organized as a social movement.
And in Albania, protests are growing over the development of a massive resort linked to Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law. Back in 2024, Kushner and Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump were set to invest $1.4 billion into turning an abandoned Soviet weapons base known as Sazan into a luxury island resort. Sazan Island is littered with World War II-era unexploded ordnance, including artillery shells and anti-submarine mines. Activists are now raising concerns that the resort will impact wildlife, particularly the flamingos, seals, and sea turtles that live in an area of coastal wetland. This is a local ecologist.
In this stretch of kilometers of land, of wildlife habitat, we plan to build a new city. It's declared 10,000 rooms, and what we hear now it's even more. So there we won't have any more the protected area. The Delta of Vjosa is completely being destroyed.
And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Nermeen Sheikh. Welcome to our listeners and viewers across the country and around the world.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe.
All right.
After 7 days of not being seen in public, the Wicked Witch of the West Wing returns. Unfortunately, he's even crazier and more mini-stroke victim-esque than he was before, if you can even imagine. We're in the middle of a war, massive inflation, oil out the wazoo, grocery prices skyrocketing. And here is what the Wicked Witch of the West Wing is laser focused on. Play the clip.
Done. You're getting a first glimpse, but that's your size compared. So those are compared to. Those are among the tallest buildings
My
in the world.
dick is bigger than yours.
The Empire State Building, World Trade Center.
Yep.
Sears Tower, Chicago.
Yep.
So if you lay it on its side, you take 2 or 3 of them to fill it in, because the width is almost 200 feet wide.
You see, Pumps, what I like to do with my book is I take it like this, okay? And then I lay it on its side. And then I get my cell phone and I put it diagonally, okay? All right? And then I take my head and then I do the podcast through this because I'm the president of the United States. And nobody surrounding me told me this is stupid and it means fucking nothing and nobody cares. And now the reflecting pool looks like Whitewater Bay or Wetwater. What's next? A fucking water slide and make it a wave pool? I mean, why stop here? Heat that motherfucker up and let's all, do waves. I mean, are we serious?
He's very serious about it. Here's a couple things I thought about when I saw this press conference. I thought, okay, so they've been hiding him for 7 days. It was so bad. And this is the upgrade. So after 7 days, this is the best we've gotten. And on these whole reflecting pools and all the monuments he's making of himself, they're all going to his buddies with no bid contracts. Therefore, they're taking money away from different areas of the government for his vanity projects. It is unbelievable how this administration, like you always say, every bank account in the United States is Donald Trump's personal bank account.
Yeah, he believes all of this stuff is his personally. So we see this every day. He trots out. He has dementia. He acts like a goddamn loon. So then I want to focus on the Republicans that are supporting him. I want to focus on the voters that are sitting at home watching that going, God, that guy's sharp as a tack. Do you see what he did? He took the reflecting pool and he put it upright next to the Freedom Tower. Incredible. Whoever thought of that? Fucking nobody, except for somebody who's up all night with sundowner hour acting like a nut. And of course, no press conference would be complete without just unhinged, unprofessional misogyny. Trump hates women, as we all know, and we hate him. Here he is attacking Caitlin Collins. Play the clip.
CNN's a very corrupt organization, but with a corrupt reporter standing right there. Never smiles. You never see a young, beautiful woman, never smiles. I never see a smile off her face. I see her standing there with hatred in her eyes, like she has hatred because we have borders, because we have a strong military, because we cut our taxes, because we do things that everybody wanted, and then we win our election in a massive land.
You love Amy Goodman? I know, right? He is definitely sick.
Landslide. We win 87% of the counties in this country.
Yeah, Caitlin Collins is just wound up like a cheap clock over all the things that he just listed. It's utterly insane how indignant he is towards the media.
I know, right?
Is the fundamental, most fascist thing that he continues to do. And then you have people in his cabinet that echo this, like Senator Boosterbox, Mark Wayne Mullins, who does gender affirming care because he is vertically challenged. And so when he stands up on a podium, he has to stand up on a booster box so that they can even see his face over it. Yet they drone on and on and on about, all of this gender affirming care. That guy wears a full face of makeup, looks out to lunch all the time, and somehow Caitlin Collins is the asshole for asking about accountability, for asking questions, which is the healthiest form of our democracy. The president should welcome the press in. Inquiry, critical thinking is a very healthy component of democracy. But these Republicans are so thin-skinned. They cannot handle it. They have comedians fired. They go off on CNN, which, for the record, carries a lot of water for Trump. I mean, Scott Jennings should have been fired a long time ago from that organization.
What's so fascinating to me is the reporters surrounding Caitlin Collins. That they don't, in just a mass protest, be like,
IRL.
This is discrimination. This is workplace discrimination. And I understand the argument that, well, then they'll just replace them with the Laura Loomers of the world. I get that. But to me, it would make a statement, because here's the thing. In any other business or company or federal agency, if the boss, and I say this all the time, if the boss spoke to a female, a Black person, a gay person,
I'm melting.
Even a white male, with the hostility and hatred that he does every day, it would be workplace harassment, toxic work environment. But the president of the United States does it, and nobody says anything about it.
And later, Collins responded to the attack by the president by pointing out that she had yet to even ask the president a question.
What? Yeah, I haven't asked a question, sir.
All right. So then now Trump is saying ceasefire is shooting, quote, in a more moderate manner. The commander-in-chief of the military, who had some poster board made up with his arts and crafts show and tell projects that he does in the White House when he's not doing made up trophy participation presentations on his behalf, shit that he should have never earned at all.
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
This up.
Define ceasefire. How do you define ceasefire?
Pretty much the way it is. It's a different part of the world. I'd say in that part of the world, ceasefire is when you're shooting in a more moderate manner.
Yeah, a ceasefire is when you're only moderately killing people. Not
when you're only shooting in a moderate manner, it's called a ceasefire. God, he's dumb.
Full-blown killing people. This guy is getting dog-walked by the Israelis, by Benjamin Netanyahu, and everybody surrounding him is an opportunist. They're saying, okay, what can we gobble up for ourselves right now? In the case of Benjamin Netanyahu, he wants to gobble up and impose his greater Israel plan and take the land of Lebanon, Gaza. He wants to balkanize Iran. All of these oligarchs are like, this guy's stupid, dumber than a box of hot rocks. We need to gobble up as much as we can and have unregulated AI. We need to get all of our data centers built with tax subsidies. We want the American worker to subsidize all of the water we're taking from the earth. And then later, hide and watch. There's going to be a lot of cancer clusters and a lot of shit coming from all of these data centers. So everybody surrounding him is using him, while at the same time, he is a parasite on the American taxpayer. The MAGA movement is a parasitic movement. These people are full-blown parasites.
I look at Trump now and I think, I can get so much vehemence for him.
Did you forget the rules here, Han?
Because he is so vile and so craven and a sociopath and all those things. But I look at this man and I think he is a dumb shit. He is not smart. We're talking about cognitive tests, how his IQ is out the gazoo. This man is in charge of the nuclear codes, and he is the dumbest motherfucker to ever sit in that chair at the Resolute desk. I mean, it's so crazy to me that everybody is not like, Who the fuck is this dumb shit? Why are we not invoking the 25th Amendment?
None of this would be possible without an assist from the media, insane washing.
He's a frequent.
And both sidesing it. And then you have oligarchs like Jeff Bezos, who says he's more mature and more measured this time around. You have a lot of people who are opportunistically exploiting off the United States government, while at the same time they propagandize and message this lie that immigrants are using up Medicare, Medicaid,
not making friends,
all of these social services, when in fact the data ferrets out that they pay into these things, but they can never receive anything in return. And now we have the House has passed a resolution to end the Iran war. I'm seeing some slight fissures in Republican leadership. So let's just review. We have a dementia duck. His policies are wildly unpopular. A lot of these people are facing re-election.
You know the
they
rules.
want to cling onto the House and the Senate as best they can. And so let's pop this up. House Democrats and only 4 Republicans just voted to pass a war powers resolution.
I'm sure you guys are going to be buying SpaceX, right? Chat?
To end Trump's war in Iran.
Dude,
and
doesn't
as
matter.
we
He's going
know
to
from the Israelis, I think it was Ben Gvir. He said that the war with Iran will end when we say it ends.
Yeah.
So we have this little country, Israel.
You're the one with the
who
iron
is
deficiency.
dog walking this dementia duck and using American taxpayer money when we are plundering all of the social services, all of the investments into our own country.
That's me timing
so that
you out.
Trump and all of these just sociopaths, these psychopath billionaires can make even more money. And then we have Jared and Ivanka talking about, how they discovered some island and they're going to develop their own, I guess, Epstein Island, which really seems to be a feature now, all of these people with getting their own ranches, islands, and bunkers.
Update. Jake Huger tweets, the Israelis can lie about anything they like, but they can defame anyone they like. They can try to steal all of our military technology by getting politicians they bribed into merging our militaries. They can demand we pay for a genocide and never any criticism from the rest of the media. Guess who responds? Mark R. Levine, our favorite boomer. Actually, he's right, scumbag. Deport this slob back to Turkey and his pervert nephew. Wow.
On this whole the island thing, the more I think about it and I think about the backlash they're getting, but
absolutely insane. How the turds have tied. How the turns have tied. They don't give a shit
because they own everything. When you have all the wealthy people with all the money, all the backlash in the world doesn't matter because the people with the money are going to do whatever the fuck they want. And Trump is just, to me, he's just, that's his brand.
Right.
I will take from you and I will tell you to fuck off. And then in terms of these Republicans that broke away, here's my thing. Am I happy that 4 Republicans voted with the Democrats? Of course I'm happy about that. But the reality is this. They're cowards.
Yeah,
because now, as their asses in seats need their constituents to think they're breaking away from Trump, and primary season is winding down.
All right, that's it.
Now they're able to stand up to him, but they weren't able to stand up to him before. They have rubber stamped everything he has done. This wartime resolution about Iran has been voted on several times, but nobody voted for it because now they need to cover their own ass with their constituents.
Correct.
So to me, it's coward. Like the coward capital of the world is Washington, D.C.
Right. And don't you think that that is representative of the electorate at large? So many people don't give a shit about anything until it personally affects them. The United States favors this individualism with an assist from all of these mega church pastors who don't preach, let's help the marginalized. What Elon Musk has just done, which is taken away food and vaccines and medications from the poorest people in the world, resulting in hundreds of thousands of deaths. I guarantee you, these mega church pastors pastors that travel around on their PJs, all they preach is Christian narcissism. They're not talking about this human suffering. They wouldn't dream of talking about it because they don't care, because they're grifters as well. So our politicians at large represent a cancer in the American public, which is we don't care about each other. Then all of a sudden, you've got some big swinging dick Republican guy whose daughter falls in love with a black guy, and then they have a mixed race
he doesn't need
grandbaby.
a victim card. It's just stupidity. Yeah, sure. Like you don't care. But there are people that care. And eventually you will. Because everyone will care about it. Mark my words, you'll be around for it, friend. You will be.
And then all of a sudden, you got Mitt Romney marching at the Black Lives Matter parade because people don't care about shit until it affects them. You have so many women that I know personally, that you know personally, that go to their gay hairdresser and they watch, they go to the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball games and they exploit gay excellence and black excellence. And they will go and triple Trump and vote against human decency and human rights for the people with whom they share their life, with whom they receive services, with whom they receive and experience joy at a sporting event. And so, yes, I love to browbeat on Congress, but my God, 77 million people voted for this party. The Republican Party, long before Trump, are pathological liars. They are anti-family. They are pro-crime. They are pro-pedophilia. They're pro-incompetence. And the list just goes on and on and on. And the problem is the electorate allows them to lie.
I have to show you guys
There's this default setting in America. Like, Angie, when I'm in Oklahoma, people come up to me and they go, hey, I really like your podcast. Keep going.
All right, then, Tom.
When I'm in New York, people go, Jennifer Welch, fuck yeah, keep fighting the fight. Why is that? Why do people whisper in the Bible Belt? And it's because there is this default setting that we have to defer and be deferential to patriarchal white supremacist structures. And by supporting it, we have to whisper that we shouldn't have pride because we've just deferentially said, oh, all of these white men are right. And we're secretly going to whisper. Now, all of my blue dots and red states, a lot of you are loud and proud. And I think you're the best progressive this country has to put forward. But Congress is a huge problem, but a bunch of dipshits just like them vote them in. Listener, I know a lot of you have felt really stuck trying to lose weight, and just know pill/safety. Speaking of dipshits, we have SpareMore.com. Is a convicted felon, went and met with her privately, is best friends with her attorney. And I'm sure he's told her, look, when the time is right, we're going to give you a pardon. Absolutely. So now that this man has shown Trump, I don't care about the rule of law. I know you're going to give me a pardon. I'll commit whatever crime. I'll cover whatever crimes everybody does.
Everyone has their limits.
Do bogus charges on anybody you want. Anybody you want to fuck with, I'll do it because I could give two shits about the rule of law. And I know the Supreme Court could give two shits about the rule of law. So now Trump is going to appoint Blanche as permanent AG. Pop this up. Trump soon expected to nominate Todd Blanche to be Attorney General, sources say.
Todd Blanche.
So now is the time where we go to Congress and we go to the Senate.
Terrible.
And all the senators going to vote for this guy, because what we need to do offensively is label every senator, whether Democrat or Republican, that votes to confirm Todd Blanche as a pro-pedophilia senator. Susan Collins, you vote for him, you support pedophilia. Lion Ted Cruz, you vote for him, you're a big pedo. And Josh Hawley, and on the list. And if any Democrats, any of these do-nothing Democrats do it, we as a party need to hold them more accountable, because Todd Blanche should not be Attorney General.
Here's what I was thinking about that. Let's say someone, a senator, Republican or Democrat, does not want to vote for Todd Blanche because they have eyes and they can see that he is corrupt, that he will absolutely do anything Donald Trump wants. Is behind the scenes, is there going on like directives like, we're going to investigate you? We're going to unveil all your secrets in public if you don't vote for him. So part of me, and we know a lot of these people are just fucking degenerates. What's going on behind closed doors, makes your hair sets your hair on fire. But I'm like, to me, a lot of these people that are going to vote for Todd Blanche, I want to see what's going on behind the scenes, because I think they're scared more so of being investigated by DOJ than, their constituents not wanting them to vote for Trump. So I don't know. That's just popped into my head. And I thought, I'm sure this motherfucker is doing that, getting bribery material or any kind of stuff.
Well, there'll be a record of all of that. But, and I agree with you to an extent, but historically, Republicans and a lot of Democrats voted to confirm a lot of these presidential appointments. Even Democrats did. Marco Rubio, 99-0. So there's a cancer in Congress, and what that is they're prostitutes. A lot of these senators are prostitutes, and they have the same pimps that MAGA has. It's the money. It's the fucking money. These people are bought, paid for.
This is true.
They take Palantir money. They take AI money. They take big oil money. They take all this fucking money, pro-Israel money, and they have bosses.
All the good money.
They don't work for the people. And that's Bernie Sanders' his whole life's work is to get people to understand that we have to get money out of politics. Interestingly, he met with Sam Altman yesterday. Sam Altman comes out from behind closed door meeting and says, we've got to get money out of politics.
What the fuck?
So, I mean, even 20 minutes with Bernie Sanders, and you can't, even the biggest oligarch ass kisser, and Sam Altman's this gay man who's somehow a Trump thumper. Yeah. He comes out of a meeting with a rational person that actually has a moral compass and says, we've got to get money out of politics. By the way, Chuck Schumer, here's a check. By the way, Josh Hawley, here's a check. That's the fundamental problem, is these people are prostitutes, and they are owned by
themselves.
The people who are funding fascism. And then finally,
wholly owned
Trump is planning to attend Game 3 of the
true.
NBA Finals. Pop this up. Let's see. Donald Trump to attend Game 3 of NBA Finals. MSG performed security walkthroughs in preparation for his potential visit, per sources. Mamdani is also expected to be there. I was at a little rally last night for an incredible candidate, Brad Lander in New York, who is running against Dan Goldman. And Dan Goldman, of course, takes a lot of corporate PAC money. And he even said in a debate the other night, I'll take money from whomever, whenever. And I was just shocked that somebody would just get on TV and basically say, I am the lowest rent prostitute imaginable. It doesn't matter where your money comes from. Dan Goldman will take it. I propose to be the biggest whore on the planet. Not Brad Lander. So Zoran and I and our team here, we went to this rally. I'll tell you what, sweet little Zoran Mamdani, he was trolling about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oh, yeah. Calling us floppers. Yeah, backstage. He's got some swag in him. I respect it, because that's what I like about sports.
I like
smack talk. But as it pertains to the dementia duck making it to MSG, do it, big boy, do it. Do not be a pussy and go and tell what's his face Dolan or whatever that guy's name is that owns the place. Do not tell him, don't put me on the Jumbotron. If you go all the way, motherfucker. You go, you tuck your tail between your legs, go on the Jumbotron, and then let's just bask in the booze.
Wouldn't that be fantastic if they put Trump on and it was nonstop booze, and then they put Zoran on and it was just like, rah, people going crazy? I mean, Trump would be so upset. He wouldn't be able to take it.
He would, but also you have to remember, I've never seen Trump as happy throughout the whole entire second term as when he's in the presence of trash talker, surprisingly, Mayor Mamdani, NBA trash talker extraordinaire. Mayor Zoran Mamdani called our team floppers. But you know what? Here's the deal. We won last year. It's the Knicks' turn. This is sports. They break your heart. I am going to cheer for the Knicks because Victor Wembanyama cannot break my heart 2 times in one summer. All right. That's all we have. Please like and subscribe, and we will be back later with more news.
All right, Chuck. What do we got for us? Here we go.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh.
In Portugal, hundreds of far-right activists gathered Saturday for the annual Remigration Summit, advocating for the mass deportation of immigrants. Former U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino and white nationalist leader Jared Taylor were VIP guests alongside elected officials from Germany's far-right anti-immigrant AfD party and Spain's Vox. Other attendees included Stefano Forte, president of the New York Young Republican Club. In an interview ahead of the event, Greg Bovino cited Nazi Germany's lead general, Erwin Rommel, as an inspirational figure. At the summit, Bovino said, quote, "If there is inspiration gained from the U.S. Border Patrol model and method, then fantastic."
Gregory Bovino led the Trump administration's militarized immigration crackdowns in Chicago, Los Angeles, and Minneapolis. Earlier this year, he appeared in Minneapolis wearing a long olive wool overcoat that some online observers likened to, quote, a Nazi cosplay coat. California Governor Gavin Newsom's social media press account called it Nazi-coded. Bovino was eventually removed from his position in January after immigration agents under his command killed 37-year-old VA nurse Alex Preti in Minneapolis. Preti was shot dead 2 weeks after an ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis. During an interview outside the so-called Remigration Summit in Portugal, Bovino criticized the Trump administration.
The base is not very happy now over what's happening immigration-wise. They voted for mass deportation.
Short loser is looking up. He's definitely looking up.
Mass deportations are not occurring. There are no mass deportations occurring in the United States right now. So those MAGA voters, those 80 million that came out to vote for him in the polls, are not happy campers right now.
We go now to Vienna, Austria, to speak with the reporter Charles Davis, who writes for The Guardian and also runs The Redoubt, where his new piece is headlined, "Why Did the Press Ignore a Gathering of the World's Leading Fascists?" Charles, thanks so much for being with us. Why don't you talk about what remigration is and the significance of Bovino being there?
Yeah, so remigration is basically the policy response to the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. And the Great Replacement conspiracy theory, as I think unfortunately a lot of your viewers will already know about, is the idea that there's like a global elite plot, typically by Jews, to replace white Europeans and white North Americans with immigrants via mass migration. So remigration was a term that was popularized a few years ago by an Austrian activist named Martin Sellner. He's also the guy who helped popularize the Great Replacement conspiracy theory. And it basically is,
it's bullshit.
It's an argument for mass deportations, not
this is like Elon's wet dream.
Just of illegal criminals, as is the typical rhetoric you would hear from the Trump administration, far-right parties here in Europe. But it's the idea that you need to actually like reverse the 20th century. That the issue is not just the immigrants who came in the last few years seeking asylum or refugee status, but those who were allowed in over the last 100 years who are not really, as they see it, European or American.
And Charles, could you explain why you mentioned earlier, why is this remigration idea attributed to Jews, this global plot?
Well, actually, yeah. In my original piece that I wrote last week, I spoke to a professor at the University of Vienna named Daniel Sharp, who explained that this is basically rooted in Nazi ideology. Like the idea, specifically, let's talk about Germany and Austria, the idea that certain people were not German and Austrian, despite the fact that they had lived in this area for hundreds of years, despite the fact that they had citizenship. That was very much the Nazi idea. In fact, remigration back then, before it became the Holocaust, was the idea that we would expel Jews to places like Madagascar. So when it's popularized now, like, I mean, this is why it caused such a controversy a few years ago when Martin Sellner was meeting with members of Alternative for Deutschland. In 2023, the German outlet Corrective reported that there was a secret meeting in Potsdam between Sellner and leaders of the AfD. And that caused national protests because Germans know their history, right? They know what happens when you start saying certain Germans are more Germans than others. than others. And I think what is so alarming about this summit is that these people, including the AFD lawmakers that attended this, AFD lawmaker Lena Corta, and the AFD press that showed up to give her a platform, they're now doing it out in the open. And I think that is maybe one of the lessons they've learned from Donald Trump. They've been both emboldened and empowered by him. And they've also learned that the way you get away with this kind of stuff and get away with this kind of crazy conspiratorial and policy of ethnic cleansing, which I think you can call remigration. The way you get away with it is not by having secret meetings that the press can then expose. You just do it out in public and you say, there's nothing scandalous here. We're doing this out in public. We're organizing on Facebook. In fact, that's where I first learned about this summit. Paid Facebook ads by the group Reconquista, which is a far-right Portuguese group, which is named after the idea of mass expulsions of Muslims historically from the Iberian Peninsula. And so now it's all out in the open. And if we can be grateful to Greg Bovino for anything, it's to drawing some attention to this and also spelling out what they mean by remigration. It is not just deporting the so-called illegals. Greg Bovino, when he was criticizing the Trump administration, I'm less interested in his sour grapes and more in the fact that he spelled out that he thinks there are 100 million illegal aliens in the United States. Now, most credible experts would tell you there are 12 million tops. But if you were paying attention during the 2024 campaign, you might have seen Donald Trump and J.D. Vance making that number go a little bit higher every time they spoke. It hit 20 million, it hit 30 million, and now it hit 100 million. And I think that speaks to the fact that they're not just trying to get people out based on pure legal status. You have to view it in the context of trying to eliminate birthright citizenship and rolling back to the 20th century. It's getting rid of people that came over the last 100 years who they define as not American or not European enough for the European context.
And so if you could say a little bit more about the way in which Trump and his administration generally have been advancing and elevating this idea, and in particular, the fact that the State Department has pledged to create an office for remigration. What is the status of that? Has it been established, and what is its purpose?
Well, the Trump administration, there's always a little bit of dance that the far right does. There are those that are like the public figures that say, remigration, don't get too scared about it. We actually just mean deporting criminals. That is what the AFD did after their secret meeting with Martin Sellner was exposed a few years ago. If you go to their website, they say, we just mean getting rid of the people that have committed violent crimes, et cetera. And same with the Trump administration. I do not know if they actually succeeded in establishing this, but the whole Department of remigration that they were going to establish under the State Department was ostensibly about voluntary self-deportation. Of course, when you get them to speak honestly at summits like this happened over the weekend, you see that it's not just about getting out a certain amount of illegal aliens, as they call them, or getting people to self-deport. I mean, they would get people to self-deport by creating such a hostile environment, and I think through state force to get them expelled.
That's what they want to do.
In terms of remigration in Europe, the United States State Department has actually endorsed this great replacement conspiracy theory. In the U.S. National Security Strategy document that was released last December, the Trump administration warned that majority non-Europeans were taking over Europe, and that Europeans faced a stark prospect of civilizational erasure, and that should present trends continue, the continent will be unrecognizable in 20 years or less.
Yep.
Now, living here in Vienna, I can tell you that is not really taking place.
I don't know who that was.
There are definitely more immigrants here than there were 20 years ago. But the idea that they're facing civilizational erasure for white Austrians, that is, it's conspiratorial. And I think what upsets me so much about the coverage of this and just the far-right extremism in general is that if you sound kind of crazy when you talk about it, when you say that the face of Donald Trump's deportation policy and a young Republican leader, Stefano Forte, are going to Europe to meet with self-described fans of Adolf Hitler, people that you can fairly describe as neo-Nazi activists, to talk about a plan for ethnic cleansing. It sounds crazy because, we should acknowledge that there has been some reporting on this. It's not just people like myself. But you have not seen any coverage from CBS News. You've not seen any coverage from the Washington Post. And you've not seen any coverage from the New York Times. And I think that is a huge problem because the New York Times especially is an institution that could make this something more than just a one-day story, that could press the Trump administration to answer, when did they realize that Greg Bovino was a Nazi sympathizer? And to press Republicans in New York and elsewhere. Do you agree
the minute they
with
hired
Stefano
him?
Forte and his efforts to forge a kind of neo-fascist transatlantic alliance?
They want.
So I wanted to ask you more about Bovino and why people should care since he has been ousted. You have him tweeting from Newark. Many people wondered if he had gone to Delaney, but on his way to Portugal, Senator Mullen, he was talking about the new DHS secretary, and the rest of them have been trying to handle these riots. Well, let's just say it's not going great. For those of you in the comments section, give a vote. Should I just handle this myself? Those agents' lives are at stake due to this inaction. And then you have, let me go to Greg Bovino speaking to Newsmax about the hunger strike at the Delaney Hall ICE jail in Newark.
As far as the facilities, those facilities are actually, I think they're too good. Fantastic facilities. Those detainees get everything they need. But what they really need is deporting, and we need to expand this facility so we can get even more detainees in there. Carl, hey, I've heard about a hunger strike, which, I think that's fake news anyway. But if they did, well, I'm okay with that, because if they lose weight, we can get even more people on planes for deportation.
So that was Bovino talking to Newsmax. And of course, you had
even he nervously laughs.
Tom Homan, the so-called border czar, denying there's a hunger strike, but then saying he would force feed prisoners there. And then you have Bovino saying, you have the world watching and supporting your efforts to hold the line, he's saying to ICE agents at Delaney. Every one of us wants to be shoulder to shoulder with you. In speaking with the Mean Green team, they send you support and are wishing you the best. He also talked about ICE agents at Delaney hang in there. This is extremely interesting, given he is both supporting them and criticizing the Trump administration. Your final comment on this, the role he plays.
Well, yeah, I think he does speak for the MAGA base, and I think it's interesting that when he criticizes the Trump administration, he's criticizing the czars around him. It's always the bad advisors. He's not criticizing Stephen Miller or Donald Trump.
It's everyone around me.
And I think he's right not to, because I think Stephen Miller and Donald Trump share the remigration agenda that he has. And I think it's interesting, since we're talking about him showing up to Newark, or at least faking that he would. For several days, organizers of this summit had been teasing that they would have a special guest star. And in the weeks leading up to it, I kind of wondered who that was. I thought, is it going to be a former Fox News anchor? Is it going to be Nick Fuentes? And then Greg Bovino posted on X a photo of himself with giving what can only be described as a Nazi salute. And I think at that exact moment, I realized it is him. It is him. And I checked the Telegram channel for the summit, and they had just announced him. And I think that is what is alarming, because I think he does speak in an unfiltered way what Stephen Miller and Donald Trump would like to say, but they are prevented to by the Susie Wiles, who know, again, this kind of fascist dance, that you cannot come out and say this. You can hint at it by embracing the term remigration, but when the broader public asks you what that means, you tell them it's not the scary thing that it totally does mean, in which you are signaling to your far-right supporters that you yourself support.
Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org.
Let's check in with the purple people eater. Goddamn.
Let's move from one disturbing thing to another disturbing thing.
I'm going to be laughing now, though.
I'm not even sure anyone's prepared to see what we're looking at.
We have 2 shots of this, and he's as wine-colored in each of them. So.
Oh, God.
Well, so I thought that this must be somebody making fun of him and doing some color correction, but then I saw that it was the Jerusalem Post, which is a right-wing pro-Israel paper, that had posted this. And then I realized that
it's at the J-Post conference.
There's no possible way that this was edited by them.
It could be a poor white balance thing, but we do see other human beings in the footage.
Exactly.
There's only so much damage white balance can do.
Yeah. This guy is a longtime radio host on WABC, which is the right-wing station in this.
Wasn't he the one going to war with Curtis Sliwa over dropping out?
Yes, I think so, definitely.
Yeah. He earlier in the year accused Mr. Met, the mascot for the Mets, of being anti-Semitic.
This is mascot on mascot crime right there.
He looks like a mascot
I mean,
I know, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it
you're
up.
just gonna have to put it up. Look at me. Me when I get hot wings instead of mild.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
But I mean, what he says is also equally disturbing, but
Equally, I don't agree.
well, it's disturbing.
it's more typical, but it's not.
I mean, I've never seen someone with a grape juice like tint to their face like that. Holy moly.
And so yeah, I mean, here's another clip of it. So,
There's no way. See, that woman looks normal. That's how he looks.
He has drank a gallon of colloidal silver.
Or grape juice or so. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know how you get that.
it looks painful.
Honestly, it looks like if he were to hit like an edge, a sharp edge, that his whole body would explode.
Yeah, his entire body's a bruise. Here he is talking about Mamdani, so people can know why we're making fun of this guy.
I mean, that was enough, honestly.
Well, there's a moral to the story. If you're a reporter in New York City and you think you're tough and you got a story you want to go out and you come at me with an attitude at the Israel Day Parade, you're going to walk out crying. So Melissa Russo of NBC yesterday, I was at a big event on Wednesday night in the city, MJE, with a bunch of people you may know, Bruce Pearl, great college basketball coach, and Aaron Molan from Australia, and James Maslow, a bunch of us.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking losers.
At this event,
Yay.
I said,
Me and a
Mamdani
bunch of
wants us
fucking
dead.
losers.
Whoa. You can't say that. Okay, I'll say it again. Mamdani wants us dead. He wants every one of you dead. That's what he wants. You can't say that. Anyway, they made a big deal about the whole thing. So Russo comes up to me at the parade. She goes, "Did you really say that he wants us dead?" I said, "Yeah. Can you prove he doesn't?" She said, "Wow, that's a tough thing to say." I said, "Okay. Have you heard him lately?" I'll leave it with this. All he's got to do is come out once and say, I'm not about globalizing the Intifada. Just say it once.
What?
Tell us one time that Israel exists because of the Jewish people, right? Stop celebrating bullshit Nakba Day. I'm sorry. Start doing stuff like that, and I won't say stuff like that.
He
Bullshit
is,
Nakba Day.
what he says is almost as repulsive as just like him being there. I mean, I don't know how people sit on the stage with him and just like aren't like.
Well, it's they're all in agreement at that conference, right?
But you still got to look over
Yes,
there.
I
You
know.
Like, wait, why is there a cartoon villain
Talking
saying
bottle of
this stuff?
Manischewitz.
And when you say cartoon villain, I mean, look, it's hard for me to make Thanos references on this show because of all of the baggage associated with it.
We're already lore heavy in the Thanos department.
Unfortunately, though, he's given me no choice as a bald man who is as more purple
literally
than
wine
Thanos.
color.
I don't think it's him. I think it's the one. What's the movie with the raccoon?
Oh,
Galaxy, Guardians of the
Guardians
Galaxy. I think there's a guy in that.
They're all the same kind of aliens, right?
No.
No.
It's Thanos. Who's you're talking
Yeah,
about?
that's who you're
No,
talking
that's not
about.
Thanos.
I don't know. I don't
Go
watch
to
any of these
Guardians of the
movies.
Galaxy. It's that guy.
or look
Ronan
up
the
Grimace.
Accuser?
Could go
No,
Grimace
it's
too.
the it's Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's the big guy.
Thanos.
No, it's not Thanos.
Because he is Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Yeah, it's Go Guardians of the Galaxy, and then there's this. Yeah, it's this dude. I can't remember his name. I only know this because I had to watch this movie like 4 times with Saul. Drax. It's Drax.
Okay.
He's blue.
Oh, but he's the good guy. Yeah.
Oh, he's a good guy.
But he's
a good-
blue.
Yeah, he's blue. All right. Well, I mean, I knew he was definitely not a
Point
fleshy
is,
color.
not one of us has brought up a human being.
Exactly.
We haven't compared it to a human yet.
I mean, Thanos
let me
is
just say this
Zionist,
too.
by the way.
Like, I mean, just seriously address his comments. These people are talking to an increasingly narrower band of people, and it's fascinating. It's like watching people sort of like I'm trying to think of a metaphor where they are almost eating their own tail. It is becoming so insular in these conversations. And you would think that as they realize nothing is sticking to Mamdani, or at least their, what their complaints are, largely because Mamdani has delivered on his campaign promises, but also as a mayor, like just increased, he's delivered materially for stuff, and it's happening both ongoing and stuff that is being delivered. Like I think today, there are applications going out now for childcare spots. He's delivered materially, but also in terms of like the spirit of the city. Like I ran to somebody today who was like, I went to. Right. I'm an Arsenal fan. I went to go see some soccer.
Oh my gosh.
And he was in the bar with all these New Yorkers cheering on soccer. Now
it's a great time to live here, and everyone's feeling it. Even people, I spoke to a family member that was like, I'm not sure, lives here. I think he's doing a great job. Like he's winning people over in addition to maintaining the constituency he had.
And again, it's like he's delivering materially, but he's also creating a civic, I don't know if I would call it pride or engagement that is an intangible, but incredibly important to build a society that helps everyone, because people need to feel invested in the project.
We want to be part of it.
Of the city, and you can extrapolate this to the state and to the country, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. And so they're out there now making the wildest claims, like Mamdani wants to kill me. And now, like, if he was quick, he would say like, he shot me with a ray gun. Look at my flesh.
Like
look at what I did. He did to me.
Do you remember when Putin did that to Navalny?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Poisoning him with plutonium.
Exactly. He tried to poison me with plutonium. Unfortunately, I made it to the doctor, but not before it turned my flesh to
side
color.
Effects. You think I looked like this before the election?
But I mean, there's a guy obviously who spent a lot of time in New York City.
And a lot of time in the gym.
Right, yeah.
Gym, right? But, I mean, I just looked up, do steroids turn your skin red? Nothing about if it turns you purple, though. So jury's still out.
I think he's on the special new testosterone dark.
But that aside from the fact that he's a freak and now he's like, just centering himself in this anti-Mamdani, that cohort is becoming smaller and smaller, right? And they have to get more and more extreme with their claims about Mamdani because nothing's sticking. And so they're only like they're trying to keep this cohort together, and it's fraying at the edges as people like realize like, oh, it's been months now, and we're not practicing Sharia law.
Right.
All that's happening is people are getting childcare.
Right.
We're not.
Why hasn't he done it yet? If Mamdani is ready to kill you, Sid, why hasn't he done it yet?
Yeah,
if you're in New York all the time, he must know where you're at.
He's poisoning him bit by bit.
He's waiting. He's waiting for the right moment.
He's putting colloidal silver into his tap water.
I just want to give credit to the top comment on the top reply from an account called Irate Maxwell, who responded and said they're bringing in Zionists who don't look indigenous to Earth, let alone the Middle East.
Yeah, some Oompa Loompas are going to roll him off the stage and juice him.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
Really?
What's up, y'all? Got a
Bovine
bunch of
Bovino.
breaking news here for you that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, the big thing is that here they go again. Here they go again, y'all. The New York Times decided to put together yet another hit piece on Graham Plattner. Except this one, I don't think anybody's buying this one. I really think that, like, unsettling behavior. Here's one of my favorite parts of it. They go on to say, or, one of them goes on to say, he would keep an assault weapon around his D.C. apartment when he lived in D.C. He would keep an assault weapon around. And another one is, he would sharpen an axe. Am I supposed to read that and be, how dare, that's disqualifying. The ex-soldier keeps around an AR-15 and sharpens an axe? How dare he? Like, who is this for? What is this doing? What is going on here? But I still haven't gotten to the best part. So in the article, where the worst they could come up with to say in the title is that he had unsettling behavior, they speak to multiple of his girlfriends. And a whole bunch of them were like, oh, he's a gentle giant. He's like, one of the sweetest guys I ever dated. He's actually, he's great. They're like, I got no complaints at all. He's actually like a really good guy. In the fucking hit piece, they couldn't help themselves. My guess is they were trying to cover their ass from litigation.
Crazy.
That's my guess, is that they realized that, like, okay, we're taking the word of a Republican operative and an Israel lobby hack is fucking writing this. We're going to have to cover our bases so we don't get fucking sued. And so, like, they ended up talking to multiple of his ex-girlfriends, and most of them were like, oh, yeah, he's actually, like, a perfectly sweet guy. Never felt in danger in any way, shape, or form around him. As I said, gentle giant, I believe, was a quote that one of them used. So in the literal hit piece, they're cool. Also like, yeah, and also, like, he's a good guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Come on. I can't. This is fucking ridiculous. It's absurd. And like I said, you had this expectation going around that it was going to be sexual assault or grape or something like on Swalwell's level. And it just wasn't. But I guess at the end of the day, that did sort of even take the air out of the tires, where when everybody finally saw the article, they were like, that's it? Like, that's all we got here? So, look, understand something, guys. Graham is very clear when he talks, right? When he's out there, it is all about not another fucking penny to Israel, not another weapon to Israel. Let's end this illegal war against Iran. Right. Let's take on the oligarchy. Let's tax the rich. Let's redistribute. Let's give people health care.
It's not easy.
He is as clear in his language as I am on this show, which I feel like is super rare among politicians. And when you're letting them know, when you're letting the oligarchy know, I'm coming for the fucking jugular, I'm coming after the robber barons, I'm coming after the Epstein class, that's when they all consolidate, right? They all get together. They go, how the fuck can we take this guy down? Because we have to take this guy down because he can't be bought, right? He can't be bought. We can't coerce him. We can't get him to vote as we want him to vote. We got to, by any means necessary, take him down. And so, like I said, it was a literal fishing mission. I have a source that says that one of the girlfriends that the New York Times spoke to, the New York Times reporter was like desperately trying to get the girlfriend to say negative shit about Graham. And this was one of the girlfriends that was like, I have nothing negative to say about him. What the fuck you want me to tell you? This is where we are, y'all.
Nice.
This is where we are. The New York Times is acting like Fox News and trying to undercut a promising politician who's actually going to deliver for the people. Cancel your subscription to the New York Times. They do not deserve your money. They do not deserve your support. They do not deserve your eyeballs reading their shit. They simply don't.
All right. There you go. Don't care about that.
By the way, dude, you are jacked.
I work out.
Can we get your shirt off?
No.
How come? Joe, don't be selfish. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Speaking of sex, have you been on this OnlyFans thing?
The fuck?
Have you gone on?
No, I don't go on.
It's all I'm hearing about. I finally go on this thing because it's all I'm hearing about. OnlyFans.com. I go on about a...
Okay.
Just to stand back and with no prior knowledge of the story at all, but just to like assess the facts as you've laid them out. You get invited to live with an older man.
Yeah.
And a girl.
He was athletic. He played tennis.
Yeah, for sure. Who has a stash of boner pills, and then he invites you into the bedroom with him and the girl to serenade them.
Yes, at night, kind of.
And this never got freaky at all, like not for one second. You're like, that's totally normal.
Yeah, not at all. But it was weird enough.
It's the most LA story ever.
It happened in Louisiana.
Oh, no way. I was thinking you were like Kato Kalin in the guest house.
This happened in downtown New Orleans. Yeah, dude, yeah, that'd be crazy. Just give me a couple minutes. No, dude, the lies I would used to have to make up because I had pretty bad erectile dysfunction like in my 20s, and the lies I'd have to make up.
Wait. Without getting too personal, how did you have erectile dysfunction in your 20s?
Dude, I moved in with a guy who...
Okay, mistake number one.
Right, for sure, that didn't help. But that's because he had a script of wiener pills, and so I'd get over there. So I'd nibble off of his wiener pills, and this is when wiener pills were really first popular. When they were first out of the gate, when people, like, you had to get prescription, right? Now you can just do like telehealth. Now you can get some Indian guy who'll just mail you a bag of them, you know? And they have saffron on them, which is sometimes it's kind of a lot, but you take what you can get. But
excuse me?
But dude, I would stay over with him, and he would and he didn't notice. He would drink a lot, so he didn't notice. Sometimes I would like cut one in half or just take one, you know. But so I was living with like a 70-year-old dude just to cops part of his wiener pill script because
So you were a kept man. Viagra kept you there.
Yep. But dude, that was a crazy. When I think back of the reality of that, that was bonkers.
Fair. Even by LA standards, that's pretty far out.
Yeah.
Usually you move in with a sugar daddy for like the cocaine or something, but you were there for the boner pills. But can I ask, how do you think you wound up needing him in the first place at that age?
Just too much mental, too much in my head, you know? Like I would try to be getting a boner or whatever, and my brain would be like, you got a little boner, bitch, or whatever. Like my brain did not like me, you know? So, and we lived together. And so it was like a constant battle. But then I think as I've gotten older and gotten more calm, it's been easier. It's just been more calm.
That's so interesting. So you were like trying to defeat yourself.
Yes, I would be like, or if I couldn't get it started, it was just like, man, you know? And so then you're killing time. You're like, hey, you know, it's like, you want to watch a you know, it's like, let's put on a movie, you know, just like trying to kill time while you're waiting to get a boner. It's very, you know, that's a tough gig. That should be an Olympic sport, I think.
Like the biathlon.
Yeah.
It's weird, but there are a few people in the world really good at it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, biathlon for sure. I don't know boner waiting. Biathlon is the cross country.
Actually, one of the most boring things I've ever seen. Wow. You couldn't have bored me faster.
Can coexist.
Do you think I can coexist with
I think you can coexist.
Why me?
Educated.
Because I'm a numbers guy.
You're a worker, you're now a
Crockett.
capitalist, you're contributing, you're creating jobs.
Just Crockett.
I would say you're net positive.
Do you not think most Muslims do that?
I don't think depending on where they're coming
Just
from, they don't,
Crockett.
because if their countries did a good job, why would they leave it?
War? You know the big controversy in the UK over the boats, the small boats coming across the channel. Do you know what the top 3 nationalities are in those boats?
Tell me.
Iran number 1.
Okay.
Afghanistan number 2. Iraq number 3.
Gulf states, how they perform per capita versus some of the other Muslim nations. Look at this one here.
Because they got oil and gas.
You think it's only oil and gas that's causing them? You don't think?
Did you know what these countries were like in
Let
the
me ask you a
60s
question.
and 70s?
Iran has plenty of oil.
Yeah.
How come they're not in here?
Why do you think Iran's not doing well economically? Should I go through the list?
You're going to say it's sanctions. You're going to say
Of course
it's
I'm going to say
America.
sanctions. If there's an 8-year war
Yeah.
Iraq started and we supported, that cost $600 billion to Iran, that took out 1 million members of their population, and then was followed by crazy sanctions. Are you telling me then that it's fair to compare that economy with Abu Dhabi?
So you just defended Iraq, right? That we backed up Iraq.
Yes.
That went against Iran.
Yeah.
How come they're not on the top GDP per capita on this list?
Do you know what happened to Iraq after the Iran-Iraq war?
So now you have another reason. It's America's fault again.
I mean, do you study history, Patrick? Do you know what happened in 1991?
No, on one end, you're saying this. On the other end, you're saying, no, it's because
You're
of this.
comparing countries. You're showing me a graph comparing countries that have never been bombed, invaded, and occupied with countries that have been bombed, invaded, occupied. And then you say, why is the GDP per capita higher in one, not the other?
Why haven't
That's an insane comparison.
why-
The 3 biggest refugee groups on the boats going into England are
Oh,
Iran,
Iran.
Iraq, Afghanistan.
yeah.
Coincidence? No, those are war-torn countries.
When it comes down to Muslims, 2020 vote to 2024.
I love you.
period.
You did whatever you did.
Hang
You
on.
came back to Muslim. Why are you
you're
obsessed
like-
with Muslims?
You're like
Because you left
stats.
Iran?
You're raising your voice. Why are you screaming? I'm sitting
I'm
right
working
across
up,
from you, bro. Like, let's act American, not Middle
You
Eastern.
shouted earlier. You're an immigrant from Iran who came in as a refugee.
I have a-
Donald Trump would not have allowed little Patrick Bet David into this country. How do you feel about that?
You're so funny.
A genuine question.
You are so funny.
It's a genuine question.
He wouldn't have let little Patrick.
No, no Iranians were allowed in this year.
Why did Muslims become Republicans?
Gaza.
Gaza.
There are other issues too. The bathroom transgender issue in places
Right.
like Michigan. A lot of
Yep.
conservative Arab Muslims didn't like that.
Yep.
That was happening even before Gaza. No doubt about that. But it was still a kind of fringe issue. The Gaza genocide, you have to understand, I spoke to a lot of these people. I traveled through
Yep.
all these communities in 2024.
Yep.
And I tried to point out, yes, Biden and Harris are complicit in a genocide. No one's defending the Democrats. I was very critical of the Democrats and what they did between 2023 and 2024. But Trump will be worse or as bad. He's not going to be better. And people bought the Trump shtick. No, he's anti-war. He didn't start any new wars.
Yep.
He's not interested in the Middle East. He's friends with MBS. He's friends with Erdogan. It's going to
I'm
be
a
great.
numbers guy.
I met Palestinians who told me Trump will be better on Gaza. He's transactional president. They bought that shit. Look at him now. Look how many Arab countries have been bombed. They said legitimately to me, but we have to punish the Democrats. That was the line. We have to punish the Democrats. They can't be seen to get away with a genocide.
Out of curiosity, you have two people to choose as a candidate.
BBD.
One is a
'Cause I'm a
hardcore
numbers guy.
Republican, capitalist, pro-Trump guy who's a Muslim. Second one is a hardcore socialist, progressive, liberal who is a Christian. Which do you vote for?
Obviously, I vote for the person whose values and policies I support. I don't vote based on religion.
Have
Muslims
a-
are not a monolith. I don't agree with all Muslims. You just mentioned
Yeah.
some of them who vote for
Yeah.
Trump.
Do you think long term America will be at a point where we'll have a Muslim governor or a Muslim president?
Yes, Muslim governor, I think hopefully very soon.
Yeah.
Inshallah. President, I don't think for a while. Look, let's first get a woman president. This country is so behind the rest of the world. Pakistan's had a woman leader. Bangladesh has had a woman leader. Most European countries have had a woman leader. America still needs to do that basic thing. By the way, the big reason the Republican Party will
I
not
agree.
win over Muslims or Arab Americans in big numbers is because of the racism, Patrick. Fundamentally.
That racism is BS. I don't think
What? You don't think Randy Fine's a racist?
Randy Fine's not my guy.
But he's a
Not-
Republican in foreign.
No, he's to me is
You don't think Donald Trump is a racist?
not at all.
When he says to
Zero.
Rashida Tlaib, you should go back to where you came from. She's
If
from
you
Michigan.
don't like America, go back.
She's born and raised in Michigan. That's racist, Patrick. When I grew up, you tell someone to go back to where they came from, you start a fight.
If you don't, listen,
We start a fight.
we're both
He calls
from the
Somalis garbage.
Dude, we're both
racist.
What do you say to some conservatives that are worried about Sharia law making it into America?
I would say, please do not worry. You're being lied to. You're being gaslit. You're being distracted. This is a fake moral panic that's been
Because
blown up.
it'll never happen, or because Sharia law is not that bad?
Because it's not two different things. Number one, Sharia law's not what you think it is. It's not happening. There's nobody I know who's pushing Sharia law in this country. It's completely fake, and it's being pushed in ridiculous places, not just
Correct.
Texas, Oklahoma,
He's
Indiana.
100%
Did you see the
correct.
lieutenant governor of Indiana said recently, we need to hate Islam. It's a demonic religion, right? And I'm going to fight radical Islam and share it. Do you know what the Muslim population of Indiana is? Less than 1%. Like, this is ridiculous fear-mongering.
It has 3x the U.S., I think, in the last 26 years, if I'm not mistaken.
But
Muslim population.
But it's still less,
not Indiana.
But it's even nationwide. What is it? 1 to 2%.
I want to say 4.5 million.
It's which
5
is
million.
what?
Yeah, you're
1
right.
to
It's 1 or 2%. But by the way, you're 3x and in 26 years. It's not like you're not doing a good job. You're growing.
Please let's not talk in this demonizing way about Muslim communities being a threat to you, because it has real world consequences. We just saw in San Diego, a mosque was attacked by 2 Nazi teenagers who shot and killed 3 people, including the security guard, who had 8 kids. Police say he was a hero, saved 100 kids in that mosque, in the school, right? Murdered by 2 guys. Do you read their manifesto? The line about Muslims is really scary, because they say, we don't hate Muslims. We hate Islam. We hate the invasion of our country. That is rhetoric that you hear in right-wing media. That is rhetoric that you hear in the House of Representatives. That is what you hear from Randy Fine. That is what you hear from Republicans. That is what you hear in America. So that is not just some Nazi shooter. That is mainstream rhetoric that has been mainstreamed on the right, and has real-world consequences. I've seen some of your shows. You've talked about Muslims praying in Times Square, that being some kind of threat. I would say just have a sense of what the real-world consequences of our rhetoric can be. Words have consequences. Crazy people out there can pick up weapons and think Muslims are coming to take over my country. For example, you did a show recently, or not recently, I looked it up because I knew we were going to talk about Islam here. You have a show on YouTube called Islam's Hidden Threat to the West. You have another headline, Will Muslims Run Are you telling me that people are not going to start, if they hear Micah Beckwith of Indiana say Islam is a demonic religion, and then they hear guests on your show saying Islam's a threat to the West, and they hear Randy Fine saying Sharia law has taken over America, you don't think 2 Nazi teenagers with guns are going to go, well, I'm going to go deal with this mosque down my street? You're telling me there's no link between that?
Yeah.
Come on. I'm talking about incitement. When you say Muslims are going to run America in 30 years, of course not. We're 1% of the population.
I don't think so. No,
when
I don't
you
think
say
so. You're not
Islam is a
tiny
threat
Dude,
to the
you
West.
guys,
Oh, come on, 1% of the population.
By 2050, you guys are going to be the biggest population in the world. You guys make 2.9
But not in
babies. We
America.
don't.
Not in America. But look at the rhetoric that Nazis used about Jews in 1920s, 30s. These people are aliens. They are parasites. They're leeching off our state. The rhetoric is it's very similar. So this is a myth that Muslims don't love America, and their families are worried for their safety right now. Every Muslim in America I know, trust me on this, I spend a lot of time with Muslims. Every Muslim I know is worried about what they're going to do. They have a plan B. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to go live if it becomes intolerable?
Go ahead and leave America. How come they don't?
Because they love America.
That's the point. What if they feel the safest?
No, but what if?
What?
Mosque is attacked by two Nazis.
don't.
Republicans can't even bring themselves to condemn it. Do you know that Ted Cruz wouldn't even condemn it? But
So
on
what
your
if-
show too, Patrick, come on, you did a whole thing. I watched it of you obsessing over this Times Square prayer. Like this is some act of domination. Why are Muslims not allowed to pray in Times Square? Why are Jews allowed to do Hanukkah?
Expansion.
Why is Jews allowed to do Hanukkah? Hindus do Diwali.
You know what my argument is
Catholics
against that?
do
You know what my
Easter.
argument is against
Why?
that? If Muslims do a better job expanding, they deserve everything they get.
But it's not expanding. It's
No,
just a
but it
prayer in
is
Times
though.
Square.
No, it
You're
is though.
changing the subject.
It is though. If Muslims, I'm a capitalist to the core, meaning
I'm a
if you beat
capitalist.
me, guess what I do? You got to tip your hat. I don't know if you follow
What if people
basketball or
aren't
not.
trying to be? What if they just want to pray in Ramadan?
No, but they're visual. You want to go watch how many of the videos like long term we're going to come America. Sure,
Have you,
here's
seen,
where we're going to be.
have you seen the Christian prayers at the National Mall? They're not the same?
No, you can't.
Have you seen? Are you kidding me?
Can I ask you a
Did you
question?
watch?
Can I ask you a question?
God.
Your
Patrick,
position-
you need to get
what was
out
your-
more.
what
You're
was
on,
your
you're on the
position?
right-wing
What was your
algorithm
position?
too
What was
much.
your
You watch
position?
Ilhan Omar videos and Times
Do you
Square
know at
videos
one point,
all day long.
Do you know at one point I was sitting down with Muslims trying to find out what things we have in common? Because to me, the LGBTQ, specifically on the T side, was getting a little too far. What is the Muslim position on LGBTQ?
Islam in general, obviously, Islam, I'm not an Islamic scholar, but Islam as traditionally practiced, like Christianity and Judaism as traditionally practiced, is very hostile to the idea of homosexuality.
Okay, so
theologically.
we have
Let me
that
finish.
in common.
But let me finish.
Okay.
Let me give you some polls because you keep talking about
I've followed all
Americans,
the
this and that.
polls.
So in 2017, Pew did a poll and they found that Muslim Americans
I have it.
were more likely to say, 52%, I think it was, of Muslim Americans
Mm-hmm.
said that homosexuality should be accepted in society. You know how many white evangelical Protestants said that? 34%. 34%. Muslims were more accepting of homosexuality than white Christian evangelicals, right?
Yep.
So my question then is, when you talk about integration, assimilation, America is a liberal country. It's a pro-gay country.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, they polled Muslims in the UK and the US. Guess what they found?
Hmm.
Muslims in the UK and Muslims in the US support democracy more than non-Muslim Americans and non-Muslim Britons. Muslims in America and Britain support gender equality more than non-Muslim Britons and Americans.
May I read
So for
you
your
something?
viewers, I just want to make clear, you've been lied to about Muslim attitudes.
When it comes down to age for marriage in some of these countries, give you a rebuttal. I'm curious. So if a person comes from a country where, like in Sudan, the minimum age for marriage is 10 years old. Are you for that? I don't think you are. In Iran, the legal age for marriage is 13 years old.
Okay.
As young as 9 with parental consent. Are you for that? I'm certain you're not, okay? Yemen, no legal minimum age. 1/3 of women 20 to 24 will marry before 18 years old. Iraq parliament in 2024 moved to allow age girls to marry as young as 9 years old under Jafari school law. Pakistan,
Isn't it 13 in America?
1.9 million child brides in Pakistan,
Terrific.
6th highest in the world, okay? By the way, the good news with that, I want to give that credit as well. Islamabad, Capital Territory, just changed the minimum age to 18. Good for them. They're making progress. Nigeria, over 50% of girls married before
What's
the age
the
of 15.
question, Patrick?
This is the question. Culturally, if you're coming from this environment to America, notice I didn't say every other country that's coming from Muslim. If you're coming from that culture to America, does that coincide?
Number one, all of the social sciences show that when people move to a country within a generation, max 2, they do assimilate to local values. And I just gave you the numbers for it. Muslims in America and Britain who come from dictatorships
They came
support
around.
democracy more than non-Muslim Americans in Britain. The percentages
probably
are
because
that.
they came
Data
here,
shows
that's
that
why.
within generations, they do not, they do adapt or do assimilate, integrate, whatever word. These are all loaded phrases. You're giving me these child bride ages. How many of the states in America had child marriages until very recently? What's the age of consent? What's the lowest age of consent in American states till very recently? So when you're reading out 13, 14, 15, until very recently, American states, that's now. You can see there are states that until very recently was 12, 13,
16.
14. So America maybe doesn't get to give so many lessons on some of these things. And by the way, what is the biggest scandal in this country right now? It's the pedophile who was protected by the President of the United States. Donald Trump not just protected Jeffrey Epstein after lying and saying he would...
Damn, he is rolling him, dude.
69. And do you know that 6,066, 99, part of the lucky 5,000 people
I
from the
agree.
Middle East?
I feel like I'm the
who got it?
luckiest man alive living in America.
Okay, and that was George Bush Sr.
Yes.
I'm not a man I'm a fan of, but he did that.
Sure.
He understood the response, as did Reagan.
Yep.
You know, Donald Trump, since October, has allowed in 6,069 refugees only. Not 122,000, only 6,069. And do you know that 6,066, 99.9% of them are from white South Africa? Only 3 are Afghan.
Dude.
That's the numbers.
Are you serious?
That's a fact.
Okay, you're serious.
Pull it up, Rob. 6,000 refugees, all of them are white South Africans fleeing from an imaginary
The
genocide.
previous guy brought more people than 4 presidents combined.
Hold on, he brought in 125,000
He's trying to say, guys, time out. Let's get jobs for our people.
No, we're
a
talking about
bit.
refugees. Refugees are different. It's not about jobs. Refugees, your
Give me
international
specific,
obligation.
like you're talking
The refugee
H-1B,
program.
green card, which one are you talking? Okay, got it.
Refugees, vetted by, you know, the vetted program.
Sure.
Where you're vetted abroad. You check you're not a terrorist, all of that stuff.
That's
what
what we
happened
did.
to you?
Yes, 18 months
Biden did
we
it too. He allowed 125,000 people. He upped the cap.
Okay.
Trump dropped the cap with Stephen Miller to 7,500.
Okay.
And since October, he allowed in 6,069, according to the
I
Washington
want to
Post.
know where you're going with this.
He allowed in only 3 Afghans and 6,066 white people from South Africa. There are 2 things I would say about that. Number one, that's racist. You let in 99.9% of your refugees are white people who are not refugees, and you don't allow people from Iran, Iraq, Syria. And the second point is, Donald Trump wouldn't have allowed you into this country, and yet you sit and support. You voted for him 3 times. Donald Trump would not have allowed little Patrick Bet-David into this country. How do you feel about that?
You're so funny.
A genuine question.
You are so funny.
It's a genuine
You're
question.
so funny. I'm a numbers guy.
No Iranians were allowed in this year. So how would you have gotten?
You know what would have happened?
Rocket.
We would have waited 1 more year, 2 more years
For a
until we
Democrat
made
to
it.
come and
No,
let you in.
Bush Sr. let us in. He was a Republican.
for a better
Don't act like
Republican. Okay, for a better Republican.
No, but that's
A non-racist
That's not the
Republican.
point. The part that
That is
you
the
have to-
point. He did
it's
not allow in
It's not.
Iranians,
Issues,
Iraqis.
Mehdi.
Donald Trump has blocked refugees like yourself. Patrick Bet-David would not have been allowed into
I would
America
find a way to get
under
here.
Donald
You don't
Trump.
know me
You would have
well
come in illegally.
I would have
You're
came here
pro-illegal immigration.
You're so
This
funny.
is so interesting
I would have
today.
made it here,
Pat,
buddy,
you heard it here.
legally.
You're going to clip Ilhan
I would
Omar,
have
clip
made it
that.
here legally.
Patrick Bet-David said if he
Post-
wasn't allowed
post
in
it, have some
illegally,
fun with. You
he
see,
would come in illegally.
The difference
You heard
between
it.
you and I, this doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother him. That doesn't bother him. He's not bothered by that. Well, I'm definitely bothered by it. What I got here. Oh yeah, this is sick. I can't show you. Never mind. That is gonna be it for me tonight, chat. Just realized I have to go take care of something. All right. Bye.